Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming your way to review a movie that I saw for the very first time. I think recently, possibly it was this year or sometime recently, Kino Lorber put out a Blu-ray release of this, and I just got wind of that online, and I'm just like, ooh, this is really cool, up my alley, early '80s like monster movie. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll buy it. And it turns out it was on YouTube for free, so I watched it on YouTube, and then I realized that although I like aspects about it, I kind of realized I don't really need to buy it. So save the money that I wasted on a Perfect Weapon Blu-ray release. But at any rate, I'm coming your way to review. I don't even know how to pronounce the title. Is it Boogens? I don't know. You can read it for yourself. I want to say this came out in 1981 and features, I think, more or less a bunch of people you'd never seen before. Actually, one of the older minor guys in charge or whatever I've seen in other stuff, but everyone else I don't think I've necessarily seen in too much else. But this is a movie that was right up my alley because it was like early '80s, and what's really cool is, being a Minnesotan and residing in Minnesota that gets ridiculously bitter cold and snowy during the year and stuff, I always like to have a movie that you can watch that time of year. And this is a really really good like winter movie, and I'm not exactly sure where the hell it was made, but the atmosphere, the thing I like the most about it is just the wintry early '80s wintry atmosphere. Is just obviously filmed during a real winter somewhere in the winter. Maybe it was made in Canada, who the hell knows. But the authentic wintry atmosphere is really cool, and probably my favorite thing about this movie. My second favorite thing is like just the young characters. There's like two couples, like a kind of two young guys and two young girls, and the hijinks that they do in their flirtatiousness. I think one of them's a couple, and the other two just meet on the movie or whatever. And a guy and girl just meet and are introduced. Kind of a blind date, and hit it off, and I think they end up screwing on the first night, which is good for them or bad for me, or bad for me and good for them. Good for me, bad for them. I don't know. It just is. It just is. It just happened or whatever. I mean, they don't have to really. I don't think they got to worry about. I can't remember who lived. I was gonna say I can't remember. Yeah, depending if they lived or died, they don't really have to worry about STDs or whatever. But this is, I was excited about this movie when it started, and the opening credits are this cool kind of montage of giving the viewer a history of like the mine. This is kind of like it's like the same year if it's 1981 as My Bloody Valentine. It's another mine movie, horror movie. And I can only assume this is rated R because I think it's got some sex scenes with some toplessness and some some girl ass and stuff and some gore. I can't remember if there's gore, but yeah, I would imagine it's rated R. And the opening credits just get the viewer caught up to speed about the history of the mine, and something happened and it was closed for quite a while, and it's just reopened at the beginning of this movie. And they basically unleash the Boogens or Boogens or whatever the hell. I don't know how the hell they're pronounced, but like creatures, cave dwelling creatures that you don't really see until the very end of the movie for reasons that you can understand when you see them at the very end of the movie. Like maybe they shouldn't have been seen at all, but whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna trash too much on the creation of these little monsters for our early '80s low budget horror movie or whatever. So it's fine. I'm just not the biggest fan of like necessarily, I don't know, little creature. It depends on what the creature is, I guess. But maybe I'm just not a big fan of the particular creatures in this movie or whatever. But yeah, once they go back into the mine and start blasting and stuff, then they basically unleash the monsters, which wreak havoc on just not big of enough budget to wreak havoc on the town. They just wreak havoc more or less on people, that the main four characters or whatever. And like I say, I can't remember who the hell, if one of the couples survives or not. I don't remember. I know one of them. I think one of the couples dies, but oh yeah, there's also the woman who dies at the beginning of the movie. The woman who's the renting this house to these people that. These fun young people that permeate the most of the movie. And then they got this one dog, which is really something. Like, it's not common that in a movie, or any movie really, but particularly like a low budget horror movies, early '80s, that a dog is featured so heavily, almost like it's part of the cast. I mean, you might as well just call it part of the cast. And some of the things it does, like just hopping around and all this kind of stuff, like it's really well trained, I will say that, to just like hit marks and you know, like it's, yeah, you might as well call it a cast member. Hit marks and go here and do this and that, and it's kind of interesting how well it's like it performs on camera, presumably doing what they want it to do, and it's just like, wow, it's another a furry cast member. But that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Just, you know, open the mind, blast, do some blasting, and unleash the Boogens or Boggins or boo, whatever the hell they are, Boogins or whatever the hell, however the hell you spell it. But yeah, it was like halfway through and I realized, yeah, well, I probably won't be buying this, but that's fine. I mean, you know, what the hell. But like I say, there's some young woman butt, and I think that same woman ends up being topless. I think on her back in a sex scene, but not much to speak of, especially when, you know, she's on her back or whatever. But there's like a sex scene. Like I say, it's just the good old days of like every, you know, more or less every horror movie just had to have like, you know, the female nudity and or the, you know, just the expected sex scene and stuff. I mean, as abbreviated as the sex scene might have been. But yeah, my favorite thing about this movie, again, is just the winter ambiance and atmosphere. And, you know, the four young main characters, you know, the two guys, two girls are fun characters. And like I say, I mean, I could have just watched a movie that wasn't a horror movie, just like a rom-com with the, you know, the two couples just, you know, having a ball, working class couples, and just, you know, 90 minutes of their exploits or whatever without the monsters. And you know, likable characters for the most part. The good old days when it was just, you know, like just normal natural women and not all freaking just, you know, surgically enhanced women and stuff. So I don't know how much. Yeah, that might be all I really got to say about this movie. There's like a kind of a crazy Ralph character, an older guy who's sneaking around who warns everyone. I think when he warns people, it's like too late, or pretty much more or less. So he's a little late to the game, like with the warning or whatever. But kind of a crazy Ralph older character, which I appreciated. Oh shit, excuse me. Not very often I have to yawn in the middle of a review, but perhaps that will say a little bit of how I felt about this movie. As much as I do like the ambiance and the characters, I have to admit, not a whole hell of a lot going on here. But what the hell, they gave it a shot, and I would imagine there's a bunch of, you know, fans of this movie. You know, I'm just not, I guess, happen to be one of them. But you know, maybe if I'd seen it when I was younger or something, it would have meant more to me or whatever than it does seeing it at my age, pushing 50 now. But yeah, my star rating for this movie will be, what the hell will my star rating be? I guess I can go 1 3/4 stars out of 4 stars for whatever, however the hell you pronounce this movie. You know, the atmosphere and the, you know, the enjoyable characters and the well-trained dog ain't enough to give it, you know, 2 out of 4 stars. Just a 1/4 star under. But that's just my thoughts on this this creature feature, this winter creature feature. It always makes you wonder when they shoot movies in the winter, like, you know, is it like a part of, is it in the script? Like, okay, the season is winter, and like, so do they wait to shoot it in the winter, or is it just like, okay, well, this is when we got the money to finance it, this is when we can rent the stuff, oh, it's winter, well, this is when we're shooting it. Like, it makes you wonder about a movie like this that takes place in the winter. Is it meant to be in the winter, or does it just happen to be winter when they're filming? But, you know, I mean, needless to say, it's a lot more pain in the ass to shoot exteriors than when it's freezing in the winter and stuff. So I always give a movie, you know, I always think it's interesting when a movie actually has a decent amount of exteriors in an actual real winter. It's like, wow, because, you know, making movies ain't the easiest thing in the world, but, you know, adding bitter cold and snow and stuff. I think there's some actual scenes outside where it's like snowing for real, possibly, and if it's not real, it's really good looking, you know, most likely real snow and stuff. So as I said, this, if I'd liked this, which I don't particularly I think is anything much amazing at all, I definitely would have, you know, been interested in buying the Blu-ray. But since it didn't blow my socks off, I shan't be buying it, but at least I got to see it thanks to, you know, the technology of YouTube and the miracle of modern technology that is YouTube and the internet and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's still on YouTube if you want to check it out and, you know, stop back and leave your comment of the movie, what you think of the movie in the comments. But I guess I'll pretty much do it for my review. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, we'll catch you on the next video.